నేను తెలుగులోనే మాట్లాడతాను. యోహానస్ గుటెన్బర్గ్ పేరు వినే ఉంటారు మీరందరూ. యోహానస్ గుటెన్బర్గ్ 1440లో మొదటి ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ తయారు చేశారు. ప్రపంచం ఆ దెబ్బతో మారిపోయింది. ప్రజానీకానికి వార్తలు సమాచారం అందించే పద్ధతిలో విప్లవాత్మకమైన మార్పు వచ్చింది. అది మొదటి విప్లవాత్మకమైన మార్పు. పుస్తకాలను ముద్రించే పని, న్యూస్ పేపర్లను అందించేది చాలా చౌకగా తయారైంది. మొదట యూరోప్లో, తర్వాత మిగతా ప్రపంచంలో. ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ మనకి రావడానికి, ఇండియా రావడానికి ఆ తర్వాత మరో 100 ఏళ్ళు పట్టింది. 1556లో పోర్చుగీస్ మిషనరీలు మొదటిసారిగా గోవాలో ఒక ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ పెట్టారు. దాంతో వారు చేసిన పని ఏమిటంటే, క్రైస్తవ మత ప్రచార సారస్వతం ఏదైతే ఉందో దాన్ని ముద్రించి భారతదేశంలో పంచడానికి వాళ్ళు చేసిన పని అది, ఆ ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ ద్వారా. తర్వాతి కాలంలో ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ ఉపయోగాలు రకరకాలుగా మారాయి, మనకి తెలిసిందే. పత్రికలను, వివిధ రకాల సాహిత్యాన్ని ముద్రించడం ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్ మీద మొదలైంది. జాతీయోద్యమ కాలంలో జాతీయోద్యమ స్ఫూర్తిని రగల్చడం కోసం అండర్ గ్రౌండ్లో ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్లు నడిపారు మన యోధులు, మన స్వాతంత్ర సమర యోధులు. తర్వాత వార్తాపత్రికలు పెరిగాయి, సంఖ్య పెరిగింది. ఎడిటర్లు, సంపాదకులు తమకు నచ్చిన న్యూస్ను పాఠకులకు అందించడం మొదలైంది. అయితే ఆ రోజుల్లో యజమానులు అంతగా జోక్యం చేసుకునేవాళ్ళు కాదు. ఎడిటర్లు వాళ్ళే ఇష్టం. వార్త బేసిక్గా ఎడిటర్ ఇష్టం. ఏది వార్త అనుకుంటే అదే న్యూస్ పేపర్లు వస్తుంది. అయితే ఇంకొక విషయం మనం గుర్తుంచుకోవాల్సింది ఏమిటంటే, ఆ రోజుల్లో ఎడిటర్లు పబ్లిక్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్, ప్రజాశ్రేయస్సు అనే గీత దాటేవాళ్ళు కాదు. ఆ రోజుల్లో యజమానులు అసలు పట్టించుకునేవాళ్ళు కాదు. సమాచార రంగంలో రేడియో కూడా ఒక పాత్ర పోషించింది నిజానికి. కానీ రెండవ విప్లవం వచ్చింది సమాచార రంగంలో టెలివిజన్తో. మొదటి విప్లవం ప్రింటింగ్ ప్రెస్తో, రెండవ విప్లవం టెలివిజన్. 1930 దశకంలో యూరోప్లో మొదటి టీవీ వచ్చింది. ప్రజలకు సమాచారం అందించే పద్ధతిలో ఇది మరో పెద్ద జోల్ట్, మరో పెద్ద కుదుపు. మన దేశంలో టీవీ ప్రసారాలు 1959లో మొదలయ్యాయి మొదటిసారిగా. అప్పుడు దూరదర్శన్. ఆ తర్వాత 36 ఏళ్లకు ఇండియాలో ఫస్ట్ టైం ప్రైవేట్ న్యూస్ ఛానళ్ళ ద్వారా వార్తా ప్రసారం జరిగింది. ప్రమోద్ రామన్ అనే యాంకర్ ఫస్ట్ వార్తలు చదివింది. ఓ రోజు 1995 సెప్టెంబర్లో ఓ రోజు ఏషియానెట్ అనే ఛానల్ స్టూడియోలో కూర్చొని నమస్కారం వార్తంగళ్ అని చెప్పి అతను ఆ రోజు బ్రాడ్కాస్ట్, న్యూస్ బ్రాడ్కాస్ట్. దట్ వాజ్ ది ఫస్ట్ లైవ్ న్యూస్ బ్రాడ్కాస్ట్ ఇన్ ఇండియా 1995లో. ఆ రోజు మొదలైన టీవీ వార్తలు ఉప్పెన దేశాన్ని ఎలా ముంచెత్తుతుంది మనం రోజు చూస్తూనే ఉన్నాం. టీవీతో దేశంలో న్యూస్ కన్జంప్షన్ తీరుతెన్నులు మరొకసారి మారిపోయాయి. దాని తర్వాత వచ్చిన మెగా పరిణామం ఏంటంటే డిజిటల్ మీడియా మీద ఆధారపడి వచ్చిన సోషల్ మీడియా. ద ఎలిఫెంట్ ఇన్ ది రూమ్, యూ కెనాట్ మిస్ ఇట్. దిస్ ఈజ్ ద మోస్ట్ రీసెంట్ ఫినామినా, డిజిటల్ మీడియా, సోషల్ మీడియా అనేది. ప్రస్తుత శతాబ్దంలో మొదటి దశాబ్ద పరిణామం ఇది. పైన చెప్పిన రెండు విప్లవాత్మక పరిణామాలకు ఈ మూడవ దానికి మధ్య ఒక పెద్ద డిఫరెన్స్ ఉంది, చాలా పెద్ద తేడా ఉంది. అదేంటంటే, మొదటి రెండిట్లో మానవుడు, మనిషి, వినియోగదారుడు, వ్యక్తి. ఈ వ్యక్తికి ఏ రకమైన పాత్ర లేదు. అతను పాలు పంచుకునేది ఏం లేదు ఈ న్యూస్ కన్జంప్షన్కి సంబంధించిన పనిలో. సమాచారం అందుకోవటం అతను చేసే పని, లేదా ఆమె చేసే పని, అంతే, దట్స్ ఆల్. అతనికి రియాక్షన్కి ఏమీ అవకాశం లేదు ఈ రెండు రంగాల్లో. టీవీని కానివ్వండి, వార్తాపత్రికలు కానివ్వండి, అందులో వచ్చిన వార్తలు చూసి దానికి రియాక్షన్ ఇచ్చేందుకు వీళ్ళకేం అవకాశం లేదు వ్యక్తులకి. మహా అయితే ఇంట్లో మన డ్రాయింగ్ రూమ్లో మనం కూర్చొని జుట్టు పీక్కోవడం, కేకలు వేసుకోవడం, చొక్కాలు చెప్పుకోవడం చేయగలం, అంతకంటే చేయలేము. ఈ మూడో ఫినామినా ఏదైతే వచ్చిందో సోషల్ మీడియా, దాంతో పరిస్థితి మారిపోయింది. ఇక్కడ వినియోగదారుడు, యూజర్, వ్యక్తి రాజు, మొత్తం అంతా వ్యక్తి స్వామ్యం. సోషల్ మీడియా బలం ప్రధాన స్రవంతి మీడియాకి మొదట అర్థం కాల, ప్రజలకు అర్థమైంది బాగా. సోషల్ మీడియా బలం ఏమిటనేది ముందు అర్థం చేసుకున్నది ప్రజలే, సమాచార రంగంలో ఉన్న ప్రధాన స్రవంతి మీడియా కాదు. అయితే ఒకసారి జనం ఆదరించడం అంటూ మొదలైంది కాబట్టి వాళ్ళు ఇక వెనకబడి ఉండలేరు కదా, దే కెనాట్ ఎఫర్ట్ టు ల్యాక్ బిహైండ్. అందుకని వాళ్ళు కూడా రంగంలో దిగారు. ఇవాళ ట్విట్టర్ కానివ్వండి, ఫేస్బుక్ కానివ్వండి, యూట్యూబ్ కానివ్వండి, ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్ కానివ్వండి, వీటి మీద లేని ప్రధాన స్రవంతి మీడియా అనేది అసలు లేదు. దే ఆపరేట్ ఆన్ దీస్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ ఆల్సో. వాళ్ళు కంటెంట్ పెట్టడంలో కూడా విపరీతమైన పోటీ ఉంది అందులో. ఇప్పుడు ఇంకొక విచిత్రం ఏంటంటే, ప్రధాన స్రవంతి మీడియా సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ మీద కంటెంట్ పెట్టడంలో పోటీ పడేది ఆ సాటి టీవీ ఛానళ్ళతో, సాటి న్యూస్ పేపర్లతో మాత్రమే కాదు, వాటితో పాటుగా వ్యక్తితో పోటీ పడతారు. దే కంపీట్ విత్ ఇండివిజువల్. అయితే వాళ్ళు కూడా ఆ వ్యక్తిని గౌరవించాల్సిందే. నాగరికత మొదలైన తర్వాత భూమి మీద సోషల్ మీడియా తెచ్చినంత సోషలిజం మరెవరు తీసుకురాల. సోషల్ మీడియా ఈజ్ ద వన్ గ్రేట్ ఈక్వలైజర్. వందల వేల కోట్ల రూపాయలు పెట్టుబడితో నడిచే మీడియా సంస్థలు, 5-6 వేల రూపాయల ఫోన్ చేత్తో పట్టుకున్న మనిషి, ఈ రెండు ఒకటే సోషల్ మీడియాలో. దే స్టాండ్ ఆన్ ఈక్వల్ ఫుటింగ్. ఆ సామాన్యుడు మీడియా సృష్టిస్తాడు. ఆ వ్యక్తి ఏమాత్రం వెరపు లేకుండా తన అభిప్రాయాలు ప్రకటిస్తాడు. కొన్ని సందర్భాల్లో అవసరం అనుకుంటే తానెవరో తెలియకుండా పీపుల్ యాక్ట్ ఆన్ సోషల్ మీడియా ఎనానిమస్లీ. ప్రతి మనిషికి మనసులో ఎంతో కొంత స్వాతిశయం ఉంటుంది, నేను గొప్ప అనే స్వాతిశయం. ఏదో ఒక సందర్భంలో నేనేం తక్కువ, నాకంటే ఆయన ఏమి ఎక్కువ, నాకేం తక్కువ అని మనసులో అనుకోని మనిషి భూమి మీద ఉండడు. ఈ ఆధిక్య భావన ప్రకటించడానికి సోషల్ మీడియా మనుషులకి ఒక విస్తృతమైన ప్రాతిపదిక కల్పించింది. గుర్తుంచుకోండి, ఫండమెంటల్లీ సోషల్ మీడియా వర్క్స్ ఆన్ ద ఇన్హెరెంట్ నార్సిసిస్టిక్ ఇంపల్సెస్ ఆఫ్ ద హ్యూమన్, ఆఫెన్ ఎనానిమస్లీ. ఈ సౌకర్యాన్ని 2 రకాలుగా దుర్వినియోగం చేస్తున్నాం మనం. ఈ ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ మనల్ని మనం సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ మీద ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ చేసుకునేందుకు మనకు వచ్చిన సౌకర్యాన్ని వీఆర్ మిస్యూజింగ్ ఇట్ ఆన్ 2 ways. ఒకటి, వ్యక్తులు చేసే దుర్వినియోగం, మీరు నేను చేసే దుర్వినియోగం. ఇది ప్రధానంగా సాటి మనుషులపై దాడి, ఆన్లైన్ దాడి చూస్తారా, ఆన్లైన్ దాడి, ట్రాలింగ్, బుల్లియింగ్, బాడీ షేమింగ్. ఈ దాడికి మినహాయింపులు లేవు, కానీ ప్రత్యేకించి మహిళలు చాలా సులువైన టార్గెట్. వారిపై జరిగే దాడి చాలా అమానుషంగా, భయంకరంగా, అమానవీయంగా ఉంటుంది. ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ టూల్స్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఈ దాడి ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టేకెన్ డిఫరెంట్ వేస్. మరీ వికృతంగా, మరి పరమనీచంగా తయారైంది ఇది. ఇక రెండవది, వ్యవస్థలు, సిస్టమ్స్ చేసే దుర్వినియోగం. ఆ వ్యవస్థలు రాజకీయ పార్టీలు కావచ్చు, సంస్థలు కావచ్చు. సోషల్ మీడియా అనేవి చేసే దుర్వినియోగం సమాజంపై చాలా తీవ్రమైన ప్రభావం చూపిస్తుంది. సాధారణంగా వాటి లక్ష్యం అధికారం, ఆధిపత్యం. ఈ పార్టీలు, సంస్థలు ఇవి కూడా ఈ సోషల్ మీడియాని మిస్యూజ్ చేసేందుకు వ్యక్తుల్నే ఆసరాగా తీసుకుంటాయి. వాటితో చాలా భయంకరమైన విద్వేషాన్ని, కల్పిత వార్తల్ని, తప్పుడు సమాచారాన్ని చలామణి చేయిస్తాయి. దే రిసార్ట్ టు ఎనార్మస్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ క్యాంపెయిన్స్ ఆఫ్ మిస్ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అండ్ డిస్ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్. ఫలితంగా సమాజంలో అశాంతి నెలకొంటుంది. వివిధ మతాల మధ్య, సమూహాల మధ్య సామాజిక సామరస్యం చెడిపోతుంది, నాశనం అయిపోతుంది, ఘర్షణ వాతావరణం ఏర్పడుతుంది. సోషల్ మీడియా వేదికలపై వ్యక్తులు, ఇండివిజువల్గా మనం స్వతంత్రంగా ప్రకటించే చెడ్డతనం ఉంది చూశారు. ఆ చెడ్డతనం వలన మనం ఎవరినైతే టార్గెట్ చేస్తున్నామో ఆ టార్గెట్ అయిన వ్యక్తులు మాత్రమే నష్టపోతారని మీరెవరు ఊహించని అవసరంలా. సమాజంపై కూడా ఈ మిస్యూజ్, వ్యక్తులు చేసే మిస్యూజ్ దుష్పరిణామాలు ఉంటాయి. డిజిటల్ ఎడిక్షన్ అనేది వాళ్ళ పెద్ద జబ్బు. దానికి ఇది కూడా తోడ్పడుతుంది. కంపల్సివ్ స్క్రోలింగ్ బిహేవియర్ అనేది వాళ్ళ ఒక కంపల్సివ్ స్క్రోలింగ్ బిహేవియర్ అనేది ఇవాళ ఒక 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 డిజార్డర్, ఒక ఆరోగ్య సమస్యగా మారింది. గంటల తరబడి ఫోన్ చూసుకొని స్క్రోల్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్తాం, ఫేస్బుక్ ఏదో ఓపెన్ చేసి లేకపోతే వాట్సాప్ ఓపెన్ చేసి. దట్ ఈస్ కంపల్సివ్ స్క్రోలింగ్ డిజార్డర్. దట్స్ ఎ డిజార్డర్. సైబర్ బుల్లింగ్కి ఈ కంపల్సివ్ స్క్రోలింగ్ డిజార్డరే ఒక ప్రాతిపదిక. ఈ పరిణామాల వలన సమాజం ఉత్పాదకత కూడా రకరకాలుగా దెబ్బతింటుంది. ఇక వ్యవస్థలు అంటే రాజకీయ పార్టీలు, వేరే రకాల సంస్థలు, ఇవి చలామణి చేసే చెడ్డతనం గురించి అసలు చెప్పనక్కర్లా. అధికారం, ఆ ఆధిపత్యం పరమావధిగా ఈ క్రీడ సాగుతుంది. తెలిసో తెలియకో లేక డబ్బుకు ప్రలోభపడో వ్యక్తులు ఈ క్రీడలో పాలు పంచుకుంటారు. దీని నుంచే పేటీఎం బ్యాచ్ అని మనం వింటూ ఉంటాం, ఎక్కడ పడితే అక్కడ మనకు కనపడుతుంది. ఈ పేటీఎం బ్యాచ్ లాంటి పదాలు, ఈ ఫ్రేజెస్ దీనిలో నుంచే పుట్టినాయి. సోషల్ మీడియా వేదికలపై ఈ వ్యక్తులు, రాజకీయ పార్టీల తరపున, సంస్థల తరపున పనిచేసే వ్యక్తులు పెట్టే కంటెంట్ ఎక్కువ మందికి చేరుద్ది. యూజర్స్ ఎక్కువ మందికి చేరుద్ది. ఎందుకు? ఎక్కువ మందికి కనబడేటట్టు సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ అల్గోరిథమ్స్ని వాళ్ళు రూపొందిస్తారు. ఎందుకు? ఇలాంటి కంటెంట్ ఎక్కువ మందికి చేరితే ఆ సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్కి ట్రాక్షన్ పెరుగుతుంది. ఎంతమంది ఎక్కువ ఎంగేజ్ అయితే అంత ఎక్కువ ట్రాక్షన్ వస్తుంది. ఎంత ఎక్కువ ట్రాక్షన్ ఉంటే వాళ్ళకంత లాభం వస్తుంది. డబ్బు, సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ కూడా డబ్బు కోసమే పనిచేస్తాయి. గ్యాసిప్స్, దూషణలు, తిట్లు, పరాయి వారి వ్యక్తిగత రహస్యాలు, ఎదుటివారిపై విద్వేషం కుమ్మరించడం, ఇట్లాంటివి మనిషి లోపల ఒక మనిషి ఉంటాడు. ప్రతి మనిషి లోపల ఒక మనిషి ఉంటాడు. ఆ లోపలి మనిషిని అట్రాక్ట్ చేస్తాయి ఇటువంటి కంటెంట్. ఈ లోపలి మనిషిని ఈ కంటెంట్, ఈ రకమైన కంటెంట్ అట్రాక్ట్ చేస్తుంది అన్న సూత్రం మీద ఆధారపడి సోషల్ మీడియా పనిచేస్తుంది. అందుకే ఆ కంటెంట్ను సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ ఎంకరేజ్ చేస్తాయి. దీన్ని మరో రకంగా చెప్పాలంటే, సోషల్ మీడియా ట్రాక్షన్కు అనుగుణంగా తయారైన అల్గోరిథమ్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి మనిషి ఆలోచనలను షేప్ చేస్తున్నాయి. సాఫ్ట్వేర్, అల్గోరిథం అంటే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ అనేది చాలా సైలెంట్గా, నిశ్శబ్దంగా సమాజం నడకను ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేస్తున్నది, ప్రభావితం చేస్తున్నది. అది ఎంత ప్రమాదకరమైన విషయం ఆలోచించండి ఒకసారి. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్లో వాటి యజమానులు నడిపేది ఫేస్బుక్, యూట్యూబ్, మరొకటో ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్, ఇంకోటో. ఈ సోషల్ మీడియా ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ని ఆ యజమానులు నడిపేది సమాజం కోసం కాదు, వాళ్ళ లాభాల కోసం నడుపుతున్నారు, డబ్బు కోసం నడుపుతున్నారు. ఇలాన్ మస్క్ అనే పెద్ద మనిషి గురించి మీరు వినే ఉంటారు. ఆయన ట్విట్టర్ కొన్నాడు. ట్విట్టర్ కొన్నప్పుడు ఆయన ఏమన్నాడో గుర్తుందా మీకు? హీ సెడ్ he aimed to make Twitter a platform for free speech around the world, around the globe. That's what he said. అయితే ఆయన చేతికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఎక్స్గా మారింది. అది ట్విట్టర్ కాస్త ఎక్స్ అయింది. అయితే ఆ ఎక్స్ ఇవాళ విద్వేషాన్ని, దుర్మార్గ ప్రచారాన్ని ఎక్కువ ప్రోత్సహిస్తుంది. మంచికి దారితీసే ట్వీట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే వాటిని కర్టైల్ చేస్తుంది, డిస్కరేజ్ చేస్తుంది. అట్లా తయారైంది. సోషల్ మీడియా వేదికలు ఎక్కువ మందికి ఆట స్థలాలుగా మారాలి. ఎక్కువ మందికి ఆట స్థలాలుగా మారడం కోసం, ఆ లక్ష్య సాధన కోసం టెక్ జైంట్స్ అని మనం ఏదైతే అనుకుంటున్నామో, ఈ 3-4 టెక్ జైంట్స్, ఈ సంస్థల యజమానులు అల్గోరిథమ్స్ని ఆ రకంగా రూపొందిస్తారు. ఆ రకంగా రూపొందించటం మీద ఇవాళ మానవ సమాజం నడకే ఆధారపడుతున్నది. అయితే ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం, చాలా ముఖ్యమైన అంశం ఏంటంటే, ఎంతటి విపరిణామాలకు దారితీస్తున్నప్పటికీ, ఎంత చెడు మార్పులకు దారితీస్తున్నప్పటికీ సోషల్ మీడియా అనేది చాలా విస్తృతమైన వేదిక కల్పించింది. దేనికి? ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్కి వాళ్ళ సోషల్ మీడియా వేరే వేదికల మీద లేనంత స్పేస్ సోషల్ మీడియా వేదికల మీద ఉంది ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్కి. దాన్ని మనం మర్చిపోకూడదు. వ్యక్తికి ఎంపవర్మెంట్ ఇచ్చింది సోషల్ మీడియా. మనిషికి అవరోధాలు లేని భావ ప్రకటన వలన సమాజానికి మంచి జరుగుతుంది తప్ప చెడు జరగదు. అన్ఫెటర్డ్ ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్ డస్ గుడ్ ఫర్ ది సొసైటీ. అయితే దాన్ని దుర్వినియోగం చేస్తే, ఆ ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్ని దుర్వినియోగం చేస్తే సమాజానికి చెడు జరుగుతుంది తప్ప మంచి జరగదు. ఇప్పుడు మరి మంచికి దారి చేసే ఆ ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్ని దెబ్బతీయకుండా సోషల్ మీడియా మీద దాని దుర్వినియోగాన్ని అడికట్టడం ఎలా? దట్ బ్రింగ్స్ మీ టు ది ఫోకల్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ సెమినార్. How to come up with workable tools to make social media safer and possibly a more productive space without restricting the scope for free speech. ఈ సెమినార్లో పాల్గొంటున్న మన వక్తలు వెలుగుచ్చే అభిప్రాయాలు ఈ ఫ్రీ స్పీచ్కి ఇబ్బంది కలగని రీతిలో సోషల్ మీడియా దుర్వినియోగాన్ని అరికట్టడం ఎలా అన్న అంశం మీద విస్తృతమైన చర్చకు దారితీస్తాయని నేను ఆశపడుతున్నాను. I have tried to outline the contours of this subject. Now it is up to our distinguished guests to examine it further. We are honored here to have with us our respected and senior jurist, Honorable Justice Maheshwari Garu. I am sure his insight into the subject will pave way for an informed and meaningful dialogue. Thank you.
Honorable Justice Sri J.K. Maheshwari Garu, Honorable Judge of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Rayapati Sailaja Garu, Chairperson for AP Women Commission, Alapati Suresh Kumar Garu, Raviteja Garu, Advocate, and the distinguished guests who came here to attend this particular meeting of national importance, social media abuse, the imperative to balance freedom of expression with regulation. Sir, as a person who believes and respects the concept of freedom of expression, which enshrined in our Constitution of India, sir, I want to bring to some of the points to this August Assembly. Honorable Justice, in 1921, Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation, visited Vijayawada, the same place. At that time, Vijayawada is known as Bejawada. And he attended All India National Congress. During that time, he called Sri Pingala Venkayya, a renowned patriot from the same place who born in this combined Krishna district. Honorable Justice, Mahatma Gandhi said to prepare a national flag for the country. Sri Pingala Venkayya prepared national flag for the country, and after that, that flag has been adopted in Vijayawada itself. Sir, I want to bring this particular thing to your knowledge because later the national flag has become symbol of Indian national freedom struggle, and this has become a powerful tool for freedom of expression of all Indian citizens in this country. Sir, this particular way, we are all aware, this national flag, British tried to control this flag. School students have been tried to suppress. They are asked not to use this flag. However, this freedom of expression has gone deep into the minds of each and every citizen of this country. Similarly, I also bring to your kind knowledge, sir, when Shahid Bhagat Singh says Inquilab Jindabad, before he has sacrificed his life for the nation, that is also a form of freedom of expression. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he gave powerful slogan, "Give me blood, I will give you freedom," a freedom of expression. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the world is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Rabindranath Tagore, he told the power, importance of freedom of expression. Later, after India attaining independence, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the Constitution itself, Article 19(1) has been added, free speech and free expression. The freedom of speech and expression has become cornerstone of Indian functional democracy. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar told this particular article is very important for the very survival of democracy in this country, sir. Sir, Honorable Justice, on the one side of this balance sits Article 19(1)(a). Similarly, we have on the other side Article 19(2) also reasonable restrictions to be imposed in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, public order, decency and morality, sir. And the question before us today is not whether to balance these two, the Constitution has already mandated it. The question is how to strike the balance in the age of social media. And what is this social media abuse? And what are the challenges law enforcement agents are facing today? Sir, Honorable Justice, I bring a couple of cases which always haunt me to understand this. So currently we have a social media evolution, revolution, and the platforms have become global, and the harm is becoming instantaneous. The one case study, sir, maybe a decade ago, maybe more than that, in 2000, I believe 14 somewhere, there is one platform, Orkut. Maybe some people are still remembering Orkut. One young lady, she came to police station at the time. The capacity buildings of police also very limited regarding this social media abuse. The young lady told her fake profile has been created by someone and her phone number has been given in that, and she is getting calls midnight also, objectionable and highly painful calls, and her trauma cannot be told in words. Later we found that her immediate supervisory officer is the culprit. That person made some advances towards her. She resisted and warned the particular fellow. He created fake profile, and after that we arrested the particular person. This is the subsequent story. But here the point is that this social media abuse has started long ago, and it has reached zenith in recent period. One important thing is that the imperative to balance freedom with regulation becomes extraordinarily difficult in the context of social media because of a fundamental temporal asymmetry. Let me put it very simply. Law is reactive, while harm is instantaneous. A piece of content, whether a fabricated video, a communally inflammatory post, a threat targeting an individual can spread across multiple platforms within minutes. The real world consequences begin immediately. Honorable Justice, I also bring to your kind notice that many people are weaponizing social media abuse to further their particular interests. Similarly, some of the political parties also, they are weaponizing this social media to target their political opponents. And this trend has to be stopped at one place. And especially they are targeting women and vulnerable children also. This is also noticed as a law enforcement officer. And I also bring to your notice that we are all aware, IPC, CRPC, now BNS, BNSS, new laws. All these laws have been stabilized over a period of time. But cyber law still evolving. Even today also we have so many challenges. In very briefly, I bring to your notice that how the cyber law evolved. The way back in 1959, there is one case study, Smith versus California. In United States of America, Smith is a bookseller. And in California, there is an act. The indecent books should not be sold. Indecent content should not be sold. Smith sold some books. Later, the authorities arrested him. He went to the highest court in that land. And the highest court told, Smith is just a bookseller. He may not be in a position to read all the books which he was selling. And later, court told, Supreme Court warned against imposing intermediary liability in ways that create a chilling effect on legitimate speech. Similarly, another case, 1991, Cubby versus CompuSer. In the same platforms, the question came whether platforms should be made liable or not. Platforms that do not editorially control content should not be treated as publishers. That's what it was told. Later, the evolution has gone forward. Section 230 of Communication Decency Act of United States of America has come. In that, that platforms have been given safe harbor provisions. In India also, we have Avinaj Bajaj versus State of Delhi case. In that, some objectionable videos have been posted in that website for sale. Then the CEO has been arrested, and the courts in India also taken into cognizance of these earlier cases, and platform accountability and individual liability has been clearly demarcated. I also bring to your kind notice the Supreme Court's landmark judgment, Shreya Singhal versus Union of India 2015. They have clearly demarcated. We should understand what is abuse and what is dissent. In this particular case, a couple of young ladies, they have forwarded a message, and the authorities have arrested them under Section 66A of IT Act. And the court has categorically told it is totally unconstitutional, and they struck down Section 66A. Later, we have got some safe harbor provisions in IT Act, Section 79. The most important lessons from the entire legal evolution is digital law did not arrive at its current design by accident. It was built with conscious recognition that the speed of speech will always exceed the speed of law. Now, the clear point, law enforcement authorities, what is dissent and what is abuse? Dissent versus abuse. Today, we have to understand the Constitution of India does not protect abuse. Our constitutional makers clearly told hate speech cannot be considered as a freedom of expression. There are reasonable restrictions. Good cyber governance must surgically target the former without inadvertently silencing the latter. So dissent should not be curbed at any point of view. Similarly, political dissent and criticism, unpopular opinions, satire, debates, journalistic reporting, these are the lifeblood of any democracy and must remain fully protected. What crosses into the unprotected zones, it has to be, we have watched vigilantly. Violence, intimidation, hate speech that crosses legal limits, fraud and impersonation, exploitation of vulnerable groups, all these things have to be viewed very seriously. And we should be highly careful, the constitutional ethos should not be missed. And similarly, these law enforcement agencies should be, the regulation must be proportionate. Second, blunt suppression is always counterproductive. We have to view it very carefully. And similarly, third point I would like to narrate, what legitimately operate before the legal thresholds and which does not disturb the balance is monitoring, early awareness, interdepartmental coordination, and platform engagement. And I also bring to kind knowledge, Honorable Justice, to balance freedom of expression with regulation, the governance framework must rest on three pillars. Institutional preparedness, it is very highly important. Similarly, I also bring the trauma undergone by the victims, which should be studied, understood. There should be victim-centric response, a single window reporting mechanism, priority, handling of high-impact offenses like threats, impersonation, non-consensual content, early evidence preservation. As of now, we are tackling these particular events with the Sahayog portal and other events. And similarly, takedown requests, intermediaries are also not giving a full cooperation. We are also addressing these particular issues. And finally, the platform accountability within the constitutional limits. Section 79 of IT Act, enabling pre-expression, innovation, but due diligence is required. And I have seen this online abuse has become universal. In United Kingdom, the soccer women team, they have been abused online. They have come on TV and they told in no unequivocal terms the intermediaries are not taking the content down, which is violating their rights also. We cannot choose free expression without regulation because unregulated social media abuse destroys very freedoms of it claims to exercise. We cannot choose regulation without protecting expression because an over-regulated public sphere is not a democracy. And I also bring to your kind notice that freedom of expression is vital. At the same time, the social media has gone to different level. The intermediates non-compliance, the challenges, and Sahyog portal we are using, anonymity of apps, VPN, virtual private network, these are posing great challenges to law enforcement agencies. Ideological addictions, political parties weaponizing social media abuse, and leaving the boundaries. And finally, the viral content and algorithm has been framed to outrage the criticism and other aspects. Finally, I want to close with the famous quote of Sri Sri. నేను సైతం ప్రపంచాగ్నికి సమిధనొక్కటి ఆహుతిచ్చాను, నేను సైతం విశ్వవృష్టికి అశ్రు ఒకటి దారపోసాను, నేను సైతం భువనఘోషకు వెర్రి గొంతుక విర్చిమోసాను, నేను సైతం ప్రపంచాగ్నికి సమిధనొక్కటి ఆహుతిచ్చాను. A century ago, a renowned poet, Sri Sri from Telugu land, he spoke against inequalities. If freedom of expression is curbed during that time, we do not have this type of great words. So with this, I conclude my speech, and I once again thankful to organizers for inviting me to this great occasion. Honorable Justice, thank you very much.
So, sir, this comes from my heart. It's a great honor and privilege to share the dais with you. And on a personal note, and I think this is what we all feel who are sitting here. We're very fortunate to have you as the, first High Court Chief Justice for Andhra. And I think we feel you were there at the right time for us. And you'll be there forever, residing in our hearts wherever you are. And I think even we have a few of our farmers who come here, to see you once again in person, because it is not easy to meet you being a Supreme Court Justice. So thank you, sir, again for what you've done for us. And so Alapat Suresh garu, because I think this is a need, the topic which you having a seminar today on social media abuse, because it is society every day, and as women we feel the brunt of it on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for having this important summit today. So I think all the young advocates, the lawyers here are aspiring to become all the students here. Hope you get some important messages to take home and implement it in your day of work. And Ravi Krishna gar, as usual, your speeches are excellent. And Ravi Teja gar cheppinattu, our opinion about police enforcement changes from person to person and how they react and respond to various issues. And I want to also thank Posani Venkateswara garu and A.B. Venkateswara garu for being here. Welcome, sir. Thank you. So we are living in an extraordinary era, right? Where information can just, in seconds, can be passed down to lakhs of people. I think never before in human history we've seen it. But we are both fortunate and unfortunate to live in such an era, because we know the pros and cons of social media and how it affects us. So at the same time, as Suresh Garu said, social media has amplified voices, enabled entrepreneurship, civic partnership, strengthening civic partnership, and also gave women new platforms for expression and opportunity, right? And for many women, especially young women, internet is not just technology. It is education, employment, identity, and aspiration. So, but the same technology empowers us also causes immense damage. Because we can say that because the number of people approaching either the police officials or the women commission know what they're going through because of social media harassment, the numbers are alarming. And the same platform that gives us a voice can also silence us through abuse. We had personal experience with this, we and many of the women of Andhra Pradesh and Amaravati during the last 5 years, we were tried to silence our voices, through social media abuse or online abuse. But at that time for us, survival was more important than giving up, just because of the trolls. So our mental strength collectively was greater, far more than the trolling we were subjected to. And we were successful in overcoming it. But not every woman, let it be a student or a girl child going to school, has the same mental strength to overcome that. And they resort to, so because the number of suicides are happening, especially among students and young women, college going students. So one day they find, the very next day, we find them dead, committing suicide. So, and we don't know the reason, especially then we come to know, it's because of some harassment, because we share our photos, intentionally, or just because he's a friend or something. But then that is the same thing which is used as a weapon against them. And a lot of people don't know how to overcome that and resort to those measures. So, the pros are how, we can't exist without social media, definitely, because it has its advantages. One recent instance is where, 11-month-old baby Purvika, how that 16 crores were collected, 10 crores were collected in a short time just because of social media campaigning to save her life. So there should be a balance between how social media is used. But we must also ensure that digital spaces remain safe, lawful, and respectful while protecting the freedom of expression. Though you already talked about, sir, Article 19.1, at the same time, and also 19.2, you talked about it, where there are reasonable restrictions placed on, freedom of speech. And Supreme Court has also been repeatedly emphasizing the need for it, Shreya Singhal, which I've already mentioned. And also in Subramaniam Swamy versus Union of India, the court upheld criminal defamation, observing that freedom of speech does not include a right to injure another person's reputation, because dignity is a part of fundamental right according to Article 21. So these, what Constitution has written, has been written, it all needs to be carefully balanced so that social media is a, safe space for many young women today. And court has recently also stressed that, digital spaces are not law-free zones, and that they are subjected to the same standards of civility and legality as physical spaces. So the principle is very clear here. The Constitution protects expression but not abuse. And criticism is protected, but intimidation is not. And debate is democratic, but harassment is unlawful. And today the data tells us that the balance has become urgent, because according to many surveys, cyberbullying and online abuse against women are increasing. NCRB reports have said that in just 4 years, there's a 118% increase, in online stalking, especially against women, harassment, intimidation, and abuse. Because whenever a woman speaks her mind or speaks the truth, the only way she can be tried to silence is by assassinating her character or, causing mental stress through severe trolling. So that needs to be carefully, as you said, it's not the intent, but the impact which digital abuse has on the person. It should be, as Sir said, it should be victim-centric, whatever, the punishment should be given. So, and one more adding factor to what we talked about abuse against women is also digital literacy among women is low. Though, yeah, there's a free internet, companies are vying to provide 5G and 4G at low rates, but digital literacy is low. And this is a digital gender divide which is happening. So, when access itself is unequal and safety is uncertain, women face a double disadvantage. So, this is one more thing we also have to overcome. And these are just technical offenses. When we talk about social media abuse, it's not just technical offense we are talking about. We are talking about health, reputation, education, employment opportunities, and sometimes even physical safety. So we need to protect our women from all this. So we have many legal provisions, as Sir said, IT Act, BNS, and IT intermediary rules, all these exist. But when it comes to, the gaps, there are gaps in redressal and conviction because technology is evolving faster than enforcement capacity, as you said. And it is very challenging to determine jurisdiction. There's a very thin line of how we approach each case, looking at freedom of expression, as we keep on telling about. Because whenever say something to us, we say, I have my freedom of expression, so freedom of speech, I can say whatever I want. So that balance, I think hopefully you'll be enlighten us on how we can tackle the problems which come to us on a daily basis. Even POSH, as we keep talking about sexual harassment of women at workplace, applies equally to online and virtual workspaces. Unfortunately, even in a physical setting, it's not taken seriously. So we can imagine how it is being, applicable to online and virtual workspace harassment. Even courts have emphasized that misconduct through digital communication can constitute, workplace harassment. So we also have to see how we need to overcome that. At the same time, as Sir said, we should learn from the best practices which are happening worldwide. There's nothing harm in, sharing the best practices and learning through them. Globally, many countries are attempting similar balances between safety and free speech. The European Union's Digital Service Act mandates swift removal of abusive content and victim-friendly reporting mechanisms. And as Sir said, United Kingdom, an incident happened. So even UK's Online Safety Act requires risk assessment for illegal harms, especially those affecting women and minor children, which is really important because in this present generation, the children are under undue influence because they have access to huge resources available online and peer pressure, and there's free content available, there are no restrictions on what kind of content is available online. So children are really at a greater harm. And Australia has introduced strong powers for its e-safety commissioner so that gives them the powers, to rapid content removal and standards to prevent bullying against minors. So when we talk about a broader national and global context, what we in Andhra Pradesh are doing is also important. So Cyber Mitra is a powerful shield. At the same time, because our state recognizes that safety must be preventive, responsive, and citizen-friendly. That is what we are aiming for. And I think I can proudly say, Sir, because what actions the government has been taken recently for the past 1 year, where especially abuse through social media or online is being taken seriously, including the arrest of cyber offenders in some activities. So I think we've seen a decline at about 17%. But still that's not enough because as technology evolves, it rapidly changesly. We should, even cyber enforcement, their technology should be able to catch up with how social media technology is changing. And the state government has also acknowledged that emerging online harms require specialized legal thinking. This is very important because the existing criminal provisions alone may not be able to address new forms of social media abuse targeting women and children. So recently a group of ministers are studying the global best practices to design regulatory measures, especially targeting women and children, because I think our government is trying to replicate the Netherlands model, where we can at least try to limit the social media exposure to under 16. We have to see how it works out, because there will be people resistant, because we are so accustomed to having, free resources and everything easily available to us. So that will be a major, I think, a barrier and to overcome for the government. But we also should know that the intention is clear. It is not to restrict expressions, but to prevent exploitation, intimidation, and digital violence. I think that is their ultimate goal. Because regulations alone cannot solve the problem. Technology changes faster than law. Therefore, social responsibility, must accompany legal responsibility. Because unfortunately, we are living in a society where instead of cultivating a culture and response and respect for every individual, as Ravi Krishna Garu said, political parties are empowering. I mean, unfortunate to use this word, but definitely political parties are empowering people to resort to social media abuse for their own advantages. I don't know about other states, but we have seen that trend in Andhra Pradesh since 2019, where even the highest legal systems were not spared. Even the judges were told. We've all seen that. That is very unfortunate. So we need to have some strict guidelines to overcome all that. And every user must understand that anonymity does not remove accountability. You're not bold enough to face someone when you're making a comment. You hide behind an anonymous name, but that doesn't make you free from accountability. And every institute must understand that online safety is part of workplace safety. And every platform, like these social media platforms, must understand that profit cannot come before protection. So safety and freedom should go hand in hand. And Andhra Pradesh Women's Commission, our vision, at least, with the support of the government, is to build a state where innovation thrives and women participate without fear. And that only happens when they feel safe. Because, we have journalists where the number of women have also increased. So when they speak the truth, we know how their photos are morphed or the videos are morphed and what kind of language is used against them when they come to us again, and we refer them to cybercrime. So it has to stop somewhere. Everyone should be able to speak without fear when expressing the truth, and that is what we should aim for. So let us use technology for social progress and build a safe digital world for all women. Thank you.
Rayapati Sailaja, Chairperson, CR Academy, Andhra Pradesh. Srimati Sailaja, our Chairperson, AP Women Rights Commission. Sri Ravi Krishna, IPS, IG Police. Ravi Teja, Advocate. Dignitaries of the dais, distinguished members of the bar, esteemed journalists, media professionals, bright young students, a very warm good morning. In the morning, when I get up, my mind is fighting between two things. This was a struggle in my mind. I am going to address in one social media function. So first I should reach here well in time. Otherwise, I will be told in the social media that the judge of the Supreme Court has become late to reach. Thanks to Ravi Teja, he reached well in time and he told me, "Sir, Stop yourself. Social media persons who want to listen you have not reached well in time. So I was relaxed. This is one example. I will analyze this. When I came here and saw this person sitting on desk, Suresh Kumar told how social media immerses, starting from print media, electronic media, television invention, everything. Then enlightened, what is the problem? IPS Ravi Krishna came, he started saying, be careful. What is the law? What you have to do? If you will not do, how you can be dealt with? When chairperson women rights come, enlightened us, tried to make a balance to some extent, but finally left everything on the judiciary. Let it go on the judicial system. Why we should come in between social media and judicial system? So now I'm seeing this, and Advocate Ravi Teja started to saying something which I do not want to have expression for anything like that. It's not a thing of discussion for anything. It's a thing, if we see why it is so, why I am saying, the topic is between liberty and liability. Between liberty and liability, what? Navigating free speech to us, and because it is two things, speech and expression, free speech and expression by a man. But how it is offending to others, this is another. So in between, navigating free speech by us and regulation in the age of social media is in the hands of the police persons or otherwise in the courts. So that is to others, if it is something is said to others. So I was seeing in the balance, what is the balance in between this topic? And the answer is liberty to ours and liability when it offends to others, becomes a liability. So I was thinking how it is a topic analytical. Once I see this, then I find the liberty is the mirror in which the nation sees its soul. Just what is our nation is constitutionally? It's a constitution created by us, given to us in our hands. So preamble says, for everything, justice, social, economical, whatever, liberty, speech, expression, whatever. The question is what? Liberty is the mirror in which the nation sees its soul, and liability is the fame that keeps the vision whole. Keeps the vision whole, and it reflects on our nation. So now it is a balance, how it can be. Today we are discussing, sitting here, not for others, seeing that man did this thing, that man did wrong, that man did. Can we say to others, do you have a right to do that? The judge do have. But an individual can. But through social media, it can. So this time putting in examples. So if it is so, then what it reflects? Once you are pointing out a finger on others, what they said, this is wrong, abusing, offending. So what is this? Meaning thereby, you have a decisive power to understand what is right, what is wrong, but how it can be possibly done by a citizen. When a citizen himself introspects, he knows the law, he heard on it, then he can give a decision, this man is wrong, this speech is abusive, this speech is intimidating, this speech is affecting to others. So meaning thereby you also know, a citizen knows everything, therefore he is taking a decision for others. So now here it is a distinction. What about is liberty, you know, and when it be converted into a liability, you also know, therefore you takes a decision that this is right, this is wrong. So now in between what we have to do? We have to introspect ourselves. We should not say for any other. And when we introspect ourselves, then what and how? We have to discuss the pros and cons of what is this freedom of speech and expression. If we see that, the fundamental question arises in my mind, as I told, who decides what you can say online? Who decides what you can say online? Is it the Constitution? Is it the tech company hosting the platform? Or is it the digital crowd? Being a citizen, would you be a part of a digital crowd? If it is not, how social media can sustain? So think, these are very niceties, minor things, how social media can sustain. But if we see the wording of Article 19, can you give my mobile? Why I am asking this? I want to give you a just brief of the wording of that article restrictions and what has been prescribed in article. It says the right to freedom. When article starts 19, it says right to freedom, includes various rights, but we will discuss today only with respect to social media and how it fall and what is the restrictions. Then it says article 19(1), citizens shall have right. Shall have. You have. What? To freedom of speech and expression. Speech, you understand now here, liberty, speech and expression, but now when we go to article 19(2), now it starts with how you can restrict. And here, nothing in subclause A of clause 1 shall affect the operation of any existing law. Very clear, shall affect. You have a speech and expression, freedom, operation of any existing law, prevent the state from making any law, and insofar as such law imposes reasonable restrictions on the exercise of your rights, conferred by the said subclause in the interest. What restrictions when the law is being framed by the framers? That may conferred in the said subclauses in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state. Here starts which comes to one and the other. Friendly relation with foreign states, public order, decency or morality. Public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of the court and incitement of so and so. Now, here, between this, you can see the expression, liberty, speech is a mirror that nation sees its soul, but it should not be converted. If you have indecent, if you are having something offending or offending the public order, and it is enough at present for the understanding. So now this is a change. We are required to be looked into. As the police officers is saying how in Vijayawada the movement started, I will also say it was in the worlds of minutes. I will put one question before going, put in another way. When I became a judge of the Supreme Court, at about 10 o'clock in the night, my son called me and he told me that, have you seen this social media video? And what happened? He is a lawyer, so he saw and sent me. You see this. I found one incident took place in the district court T. Sajari, wherein one judge was there, synonym to my name, but not my surname. But in the social media, what he did, his name was not there, and the name was of Justice Jitendra Maheshwari did this. I was shocked and surprised. But immediately I called to Secretary General of the Supreme Court. And what is this? And immediately I called to the Registrar General of the High Court of Delhi. And what is this, mister? Your judge of Delhi High Court. And I am become famous in world for this cause. Is it a cause did by me? This is not enough. And now I am putting a question to the police officer. You know, when everyone was attempted to remove this, and it could be removed, you know, on the next day at about 11 a.m., for whole night it goes on, because the reason was that the company hosting the platform not situated in India, say outside of India, their entire system was closed. When the message goes to them to put it through even Ministry of Telecommunication, because it is relating to a judge of the Supreme Court, that is being done. So now you understand the harm and where is the problem arising. So this is one of the problem which I have started not saying to anyone. Now we see when this provision was brought, 19(1) A to G, restrictions 2 to 7, 8, the Constitutional Assembly debates were there. At that time, while this provision was being brought, it was in the mind of the constitutional framers that there may be an issue which can arise and how we have to deal with this situation. So then in Constituent Assembly debate, I will not say the entire debate is a big debate, but I will put certain two persons who coded this, and that was to understand, then they debated the question of free speech with extraordinary passion and wisdom. They understood the freedom of expression is not merely a legal right, but it's a oxygen of democracy. Now, in between this oxygen, how you have to take polluted or non-polluted, then discussion was done. Can you, then you will remember COVID-19. All right. Even you try to take non-polluted oxygen, what is the consequence? You thought of it. Because I was there during COVID-19, so I remember. All right. So you understand this, what is. So at that time, when Algurai Sastri, who was representing the state of UP, during discussion, his limited things which I will quote here, he said, Mr. Vice President, all the important aspects of the fundamental freedom have been dealt with under Article 13 corresponding to Article 19. From this point of view, this article is very important. It is going to be accepted with some minor amendments. Many friends have attacked its provision on the ground then fundamental rights conferred by this article have been taken away by the limitations imposed therein. Then he said, I feel that along with freedom, responsibility is essential. So this was the essence of that. Responsibility is essential. Whose responsibility? Once we are talking of our introspection. So it's a responsibility is essential. The friends who urge that right given in this article have been taken away under subclauses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have not taken into consideration the people who will elect members of the legislature